like pancakes, but like phyllo pancakes, and they wrap it, and it's layered, so it's like layer of meat, layer of pancake, layer of meat, layer of pancake, and then it's covered in like a curry sauce.
So you mentioned at the start that you're a foodie, something I would classify myself as well. So I'm going to pick your brains on this one because I can't wait to hear about it. How much money did you give yourself to spend on food?
In total,
in terms of like as a proportion of your budget, did you make sure that it was?
I think it was like 20%, 25%, something like that. Like it was a decent size, but again, we went with the intention of eating like locals do. We didn't go with the intention of going to sort of some of the fancier restaurants in places, which actually I think I kind of regret a little bit, because if you're anything like me, where you watch various Netflix documentaries about food places around the world, every now and then something will come up. It'll be like, oh, we were in Bangkok and we totally should have gone to that restaurant, or we were in Sydney and we didn't go to that restaurant either. That's really irritating. But yeah, we set a decent budget, and I mean, yeah, we ate our way around most of Asia. And like I laugh about it now, but it got to a point that sometimes we were just so bored of trying to find a restaurant to go to, which sounds mad. Like now, I would just be like buzzing to be out there, but at some point, we'd be like, oh, we've got to eat out again. Oh, this is rubbish. What are we going to do? And we'd be poring over sort of tourist books, and we were quite picky about where we wanted to go. If we were going to go spend money somewhere, we wanted it to be good. Yeah. So we'd end up just spending a lot of time researching these restaurants. But yeah, I think it was probably about 15-25%.
Awesome, mate. And did you try any new adventurous foods on your trip? Obviously, you get the scorpions and the like out there. Did you venture into any of that?
I drew the line at like insects and scorpions, but we did eat a lot of mad fruits, and we did eat a lot of sort of entrails. Yeah. Sort of like other parts. I think we went on a food tour in Kuala Lumpur, and like the first place the guy took us was like, eat that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's like, okay, and it was like this chewy, I don't know, like almost like beef jerky, and he was like, that's intestines. I was like, okay, cool, we're underway. What else have you got for me? Yeah. And the thing is, most people go, oh, and it was surprisingly good. No. I was happy to eat, but none of it was any good. And then in China, we ended up going to quite a lot of hot pot places, and the way they charge you is basically how many sticks you buy, and you go into a fridge, you pick up a plate, it has a load of sticks on, and then at the end they come up, weigh the sticks, and that's how much you pay. And we had Google Translate on our phone because English isn't very well spoken in some places we're going to in China. And you'd scan it, and it would just say like pork bits, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's a risky decision." Or you look at something and you'd be like entrails, and then it was like undecipherable entrails. And you'd be like, "Okay, we can probably leave that one to one side." Yeah. But then you just get bored, and you're like, that looks like chicken breast. We'll shove that on. It could be anything, I don't know. But once you stick it in a chili broth, and it cooks, it tastes pretty good. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. And is there a single country where you would say had the best food?
So my wife grew up for a little bit in Singapore when she was younger, and we always tried to go to Singapore because the food there is ridiculous. And I mean, I don't think I've seen much of Singapore other than the restaurants. We've been 3 or 4 times now, and we go for 3 or 4 days, and it's just we have a set routine of where we go. And I think the best places for food were the places where there is just a real mixed mash of cultures. So Malaysia and Singapore with sort of Chinese, Indian, Malay influences, it just ended up being delicious. I mean, if I had to pick, Singapore would be the country, but if I had to pick one place, it'd be Georgetown, which is the main city on an island in Penang, which is sort of a couple of hours north of Kuala Lumpur. And it used to be sort of a free port. So you walk around the city, and there'd be sort of like British buildings, and there'd sort of be like Indian-based buildings, and there'd sort of be Chinese-type style buildings. And it's a real mixed mash of sort of cultures. But the food there was just ridiculous. And people rent stalls in the morning, and like one dude might do it on a Monday, and he might have the best, I don't know, hoisin duck on a Monday morning. And if you miss him, you can't find him again. So there was one day, I think we went to, it was actually on the corner near a hostel. We were quite fortunate. And it was like Chinese pork char siu with just plain rice and like this lime juice. And I cannot recreate it as hard as I try. I've been to so many restaurants where they're like, oh, best Malaysian char sui, lime juice. And I keep going, and every time I try it again, I'm like, this just isn't as good. I'm so disappointed. So I would finally recommend going there. Yeah, so probably Singapore and Malaysia would be two places. But again, I think most places we went to, the food was, very good.
Just because I love talking about food, I'm going to try and push you for a second best dish. If char sui's your top, what would you say for number 2?
That is, so I'll have to go for a Singaporean dish. There's, it's called murtabak, and it's I think it's sort of an Indian-based dish, but essentially it's you can't really get it in the UK, and you can't really get it anywhere else. I don't know why. Even like pretty decent Singaporean restaurants, like there's Singapore Kitchen, sort of in North London, and there's a place in Euston which does sort of Indian style, Malaysian style, Singaporean food. They don't do it, but it's basically you either have with lamb or chicken, and it's layered lamb like on like pancakes, but like phyllo pancakes, and they wrap it, and there's layers. So it's like layer of meat, layer of pancake, layer of meat, layer of pancake, and then it's covered in like a curry sauce. And it's just, I mean, it must be like 4,000 calories. It's ridiculous, but it's good when the guy who's serving you's got like a proper he's not fat. He's got like a pot belly. He's got he looks like he's going to have to like start taking injections, and it's like all centralized. And that would be my second dish, I think.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll go with that.
Nice. And obviously earlier I mentioned that you went to some cooking classes. Did you pick up any tips from those which you're now implementing in the kitchen at home?
So it is really a good pestle and mortar is the main thing. Like make your own pastes. Like spend a lot of time making your own paste and freeze it and crush it and do those. But that's one thing. Other than that, it's just it's not too dissimilar to doing cooking at home. If you're like doing a stew, like if you cook something for a low temperature for a long time in a sauce, it's going to be tender. If you cook it hard, it's going to be harder. We love in this house garlic, chili, and onion as just a combination.
Me too, man.
So I think we use it all the time. And but other than that, no. I think the main thing is there's also stuff which you can't get in your typical shop. So in particular, sort of Chinese cooking, you can't get like red bean paste. You have to go to sort of Asian supermarkets to get hold of that, and likewise. Thai basil again you're starting to see a little bit more, but specifically Thai basil rather than just basil is a little bit hard to get hold of. So those sort of missing ingredients have always been a bit of a pain. But other than that, we love Asian food anyway, so we eat a lot of it. And I think it was mostly so we could come back and be like, okay, we can cook a banging rice dish and a banging noodle dish now, and we can cook for family and friends and feel confident that what we're making is authentic rather than making it up.